Team 6, not subscribed, you better subscribe. What's up? What's going on? My 600 RR, my girlfriend's 250. Dropping the bike off for her, and while I do that, we're going to review the bike. First, I'm going to take a nice picture. And we're going to go ahead and selfie that shit on Instagrams. Follow me on Instagram. We're going to take a selfie real quick. That's lame as shit. I hate selfies. Let's just take a picture of the bike. Both bikes. Oh. Instagram's gay like that. Her key is here. Shit, I haven't used this, or I haven't opened the trunk in this bike for so long. So the trunk is over here. There's a lot more room than the 600. And the review is not going to be professional. I'm just a random dude who happens to be able to ride this bike. I don't even remember how to put this fucking thing back on. In the 600, it's a lot easier. Oh, it's backwards. On the 600, you have to put it this way. On the 250, you have to put it. I didn't even remember that. Remember, this review is nothing to, nothing special. Just whatever that comes to mind, I'll mention it. I owned this bike for a year back in 2013 to 2014, and I upgraded to a 600 RR. But my very first bike was this exact bike, just 1 year younger, or sorry, older. Full throttle. It's definitely after the 600. I could only compare it to a 600. Definitely, I would say I got bored after 2 to 3 months, but this bike is definitely a lot easier to maneuver, and it's a lot lighter, and you just feel a lot more in control when you're on this bike. It's a very nimble. I'm pretty confident on this bike just because I've been on it before a lot. When it comes to starting on a bike, and you don't know if you want a 250 or a 600, this bike is a lot more forgiving than the 600. I came from no bike experience at all. I went from 0 to a 250. I did the MSF course, which is basically they train you for 3 days and then you're off doing your thing. So I did the MSF course, and that's all I knew. But this bike is definitely a lot more forgiving than the 600. And in my opinion, if you've never ever ridden a bike, and you're not sure and you're not confident in your abilities, on the bike, my suggestion to you is you should probably get a used 250, like just a couple years old. You can find a used 250. Hold on, this light's green to turn. I got to turn left, but the light's not gonna. It's not gonna. I won't make it unless I make it. Nope. Just neutral. If you've never ever ridden a bike and you're not confident in your abilities, or you're not sure if you ever want to ride a bike, or if you feel that a 600 is a little bit intimidating, which what I felt, but my main reason of getting a 250 to start off was because a 600 was way too much in insurance. It cost way too much in insurance. So that's my reason, but let me turn around and so pretty much my suggestion to you is, if you're not confident, I say look for a used 250 a couple years old, and you can find it for, here in Canada, Ontario, you'll find it for around $3,000, a good 2012, 2011 CBR 250. And when you're doing it, you're learning on it, like I said, it will be a lot more forgiving. So when, let's say because when you first get a bike, like this is maybe not with everybody, but with me, when I first got a bike, I was cocky, man. I was riding with one hand here, like this, looking around like I'm cool and shit. And you hit a bump, and when I hit that bump on my 250, I even did it on my 600 because I thought it was still cool. You hit a bump, you go back, and your hand flies back with you. You're just with one hand, and it kind of like jerks your hand, and the throttle, blips, and you start going whoop. And on a 250, you definitely won't really it won't really kick you too much. On a 600, it'll definitely kick you. It will definitely kick you. So in regards to that kind of thing where some unexpected shit happens, you're pretty much a lot, not safer, but a lot, like I said, it's a lot more forgiving. And not just that, but with any mistakes that you make on the 250, you may be able to get out of it better than a 600, depending on what kind of mistake it is. Obviously, if you're running a red light, I don't think it matters. But that's just my point of view on it. And it's a lot more nimble, and you can pretty much, you know, whoop, whoop. It feels so much easier to do it on a 250 because it's so much smaller. Some people say that it can't do highway riding. I've done highway all the time on my 250, and it's pretty good on highways. Obviously, it's not the best because it's a 250, but that's that. But I did, like I've stated before, I did get bored from the 250 pretty fast. At first, when you've never ridden a bike and you go down the first street going 80, you're like, holy fuck, this is so fast. But it's just because you're not used to it, right? You're like being outside of a car and shit like that. So it's not bad. The bike's pretty good. I'm 6'4", so I can really flat foot this bike. Any bike I can pretty much flat foot. Although supermotors are pretty uncomfortable for me. Probably because I'm not used to it. But anyways, that's a CBR 250. This one's a 2012. And I'm dropping it off for my girlfriend. And she's going to be learning by the parking lot of her house. And right now you guys will see how this thing does on the highway. I'm pretty much probably going to full throttle it and accelerate. That's pretty much the CBR 250 in my opinion. And when I said, neutral. And when I said, buy a used one for around $3,000 or wherever you're from for however much it costs, the resale value of bikes, it doesn't really go down when you're looking at used 250s, just because everybody wants to learn on a 250. Everybody and their grandmother, and everybody wants to buy the bike. I bought my bike for like 35 or whatever, and I think I sold it for like 35. We bought this bike for like 35, and we're probably going to sell it for 35 if she ever does want to upgrade or if she decides to quit. But I really don't think she'll quit. But yeah, with 000 experience, this is the bike to get in my opinion. My opinion changes a lot, but that's what I think right now. And let's just do a little bit of highway, and I'll start talking off the highway. Full throttle. Never mind. Not even full throttle, we're still okay. 7,000 RPMs on 100. That was 5th gear. Now we're in 6th gear. Text. For me, at least for me, when I'm actually on the highway, I'm gonna get this out of the way first. The bike maxed out around 8,000 RPMs, around 130. These are kilometers an hour because we're in Canada, so 130 kilometers an hour. It maxed out, and it's so much easier to it's probably because I've ridden a 600. That's why I'm comparing to it, like turning and shit. But it's so much it feels like just like a mini dirt bike, like little go-kart where you can like do 90-degree turns in like half a second. The mirrors, it's been like this on my CBR 250 that I used to have, on this one, and on the CBR 600 that I have. Every time I ride, I have to tuck in my elbows like this to look behind me because it's always in the way. And I try positioning the mirror every other way. And I keep having, like, if I'm riding like this, I'll have to kind of tuck in, which is fine with me. It doesn't really bug me. But that's kind of a bummer. You could also get bar end mirrors and remove these, and you can put them here so where you're riding you can see them. Also, the positioning on this bike is a lot different and a lot more comfortable than any other, but any super sport. Just because, at least the 600. I'm not going to say any other because I haven't really been on any other. But compared to the CBR 600RR, The comfortability, this is a lot more upright, so it's a lot more comfortable. The 600R, it's a lot more aggressive. So that's that. But this bike, I've never had any problems with my old bike, this bike, or my 600, and they're all Hondas, so it's pretty cool. This bike, I do recommend this bike only because I've been on it, and it's pretty much a biased opinion and a biased review. This review is probably pretty lame. I just got out and decided to do a review for no reason. I didn't really have any guidelines of what I wanted to talk about, but that's that. If you're new to riding, never ridden before, my suggestion, just get a used CBR 250. Very easy to learn on, nimble and forgiving. More forgiving than the 600. But the negative is that you will most likely get, not tired of the power, but bored of the power. When I first got on the 600, I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. First gear is, you can go like 60, 70 kilometers an hour, some shit like that. But you're obviously getting, high in the RPMs. But, yeah. And just before I finish, just a quick walk around. That's the CBR 250. The stock exhaust is pretty lame. Once you've experienced different sounds, different exhausts, the stock on the CBR 250 sounds very bad. I plan on changing it for my girlfriend, but that's in due time. We're going to change the fairings and everything. That's pretty much the bike. It's everything stock. The fender eliminator is going to have to happen. Take this off because this is ugly. These are very noticeable, though. They're good for, to show where you're turning, as lame as it sounds. And that's it. Very light bike. Much suggested by me. 6'4" Honda, up out of this bitch again. Deuces.
I know you like my shit. I know you like my shit. I know you like, so like my shit.
A PS Records production.